All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Another video here, talking about owning a Tesla. I've had my Model S here for about almost a month, and I figured I'd do a quick video just to talk about some of the things on the car that people have asked questions about. So, trying not to catch the sun here, but I had a couple people ask me a lot of questions, so I figured I'd try to answer them as best I can with a quick video. And while I'm at it, I'll talk about the things that I do like about the car and the things that I don't like about the car. No car is perfect. Overall, I love the car. More than satisfied, more than happy with it. But there are a few things that are quirks that I think they could have done better in the car. And, I'll give you my real world review, and we'll talk about them, and you'll at least know going into it some of the things that I had to learn along the way. So, first thing that caught me and wasn't too happy about it, but I'm kind of dealing with it, is when I bought the car, I intentionally did not get dual motors because I wanted the additional front trunk space. Because there's no engine, of course, there's no axle or anything like that. You have a lot of room on the bottom of the car. You have a huge trunk that's almost got two levels. You've got the main floor, and then you have a subfloor, and then you have the front trunk, which is an open area where you can store luggage or whatever else it is. In the cars that don't have dual motor, prior to the upgraded air conditioning system, the front trunk was pretty big, probably as big as most other rear trunks in a car. So I said, hey, I'm in California, I'm not going to need four-wheel drive. The people who have the P85 and P90Ds, they want the dual motor for the speed. I get it. In California, though, very few people are going to say, oh, I need dual motors because I need extra traction. No, you just want it for the speed. And I get it. But for me, the option wasn't worth it. But what happened is, when I upgraded to the premium interior, which includes the upgraded air conditioning, air filtration, biohazard, air system, it took a lot of the front trunk space out. Wasn't too happy about that because I had plans on using a lot of that front trunk space for when we take our road trips, but I think we'll still be okay with it. It's still usable, but it's just not as much space as I thought it would be. Second thing that I kind of asked, hey, what's the story to it, is the visors. And if you look at the visor here, there's no light. Like, as soon as my wife saw this, she just, was like, how do you build a car like this and not have a light? And that's like basic. I haven't owned a car yet that didn't have lights in the mirror. It's so simple, but yet, here you are in a car that's the future, and there's no light in the mirror. So, you do have a little dome light here that you can turn on, and it serves a purpose. But come on, I'll give you another $10 to put a light in the mirror. It's not that, it couldn't be that much. What else is out there? So the center console, I don't know who or how they planned out this center console. It's nice, visually, but it's no function at all. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you've got this, nice leather padded armrest. You've got, these little parts that slide here. If you want to cover the armrest, you can do that, or you can leave it back. But the armrest itself is very short. You sit your arm on it, and you're covering the whole cup holder thing. So it's really no use for these cup holders right here, because if you put your arm here, you're just gonna hit your drink. And I've knocked at least 10 drinks over before I figured out I'm just not gonna use it anymore. The other part is that it's very high, and when I say high, like, it's got a fair bit of depth to it, but you can't open it. It's just like a pedestal. You can't put anything inside of it. So, when you have like your car cord for your phone or your, insurance and registration, anything that you normally put in any other armrest in any other car that you can open up and just drop stuff into, maybe a lotion, your hand sanitizer, whatever it is, there's nothing that you can do here. It's just a nice armrest that's, leather and wood, but you can't put anything in it. So what happens is you're forced to put everything in the lower center console. And you can see what I'm looking at here. You've got, you've got a nice soft close, thing that's got 2 cup holders in it. And you can put other items in here, which is what I do. Phone cord, sanitizer, etc. And you also have this little cubby hole right here. So there is space, just, it's odd. I don't know why they made the armrest where you can't open it. Maybe there's, a supercomputer under it or, whatever. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure there's a reason to it, but, I think they could have done better with that one. The next thing that I don't like is the rear seat, and you can't see it because I have the baby seat in there, but in the rear seat there's no center armrest. Most cars that I've been in, you have a center armrest that you can fold down, and it's usually got a cup holder or 2 in it, and if you don't use it, you just fold it up and you have your third seat. Not so in this car. It's just a third seat. If you take the baby seat out, there's still no cup holder in the back seat, not even on the floor. It's just it's a very spacious rear seat, leg room, space for your feet, elbow arm room, but there's just no armrest in the back. And I think that's something they could have done. The seats are plush, the leather is the cushion is thick enough to where they could put an armrest back there if they wanted to. They just didn't. Man, I don't know. Like I say, every other car that I've ever owned has had that. This car doesn't. It is what it is. So those are just, minor things. Overall, I love the car, and I'll tell you some of the things that I do like. That's my list. That's my complete list of things I don't like. On to the things I do like. First off is if you get the upgraded interior, if you can, it's definitely worth it. And the reason I say that is because all along your headliner, your B-pillars, your windows, even on the dash, you get this great feeling suede that just goes all across the dash, the roof, the doors. It's definitely worth it. I think that's a very classy touch. To put the Alcantara suede all over the interior. With the premium interior, you get that. You get the HEPA filter on the air conditioner. You also get leather add-ons on like your steering wheel and your armrests and things like that. And you get the headlights that actually, when you turn, they kind of turn with the car. It's like a little switch that you can see the light turn on. And they're all legitimately beneficial things. Like, that's probably the best thing. I didn't plan on getting it with the options on the car, but luckily I picked a inventory model that had it, and it's the best. I don't regret it one bit because the interior is incredible in here. Second thing that I love about the car is supercharging. Supercharging is, when people talk about electric cars, that's the main thing that people says, oh, what do you do when you charge? You're going to run out on the street. So these superchargers are, literally everywhere. Every major city has at least one. And here in California, you might get lucky to have 2 or 3. Or if you're in LA, you got like 10 of them. But they're located up and down every major highway. I could drive coast to coast and, not have to pay for gas or worry about running out of electricity. They're definitely there. I've already planned out like 10 different trips, and there's no way where you're going to be more than 50 miles away from one. So it's out there, and that's a good thing, because Supercharging is free for the life of the car, and you get charge rates that are just insane. Like, you're gonna pull like 90 kilowatts, you're gonna get like 60, 70, 100 miles in 10-15 minutes. If you stay like for a full 30 minutes, you'll get well over 200 miles of added range to your car. And I have the 60 kilowatt battery, so my total range is about 215 miles. And that's just one charge. If you stop, give yourself another 20 minutes, maybe 25 if you get really low, get something to eat, get a drink, or just relax, and you're back at 200 miles again, and you can continue where you're going. I usually charge on about every other day, so even your day-to-day driving, it's not like you got to worry about what's going to happen. You can drive it for 2 days and not have to worry about it, or you can just charge it at the end of every night and have a full battery when you go, just in case you have to do some other driving. So that's the other thing I love. Third thing I love is the display. The touch screen is you got to see it. It's just amazing the amount of information you can get. Plus, it's just nice. Like, everything is right there. You're no more than 2 button pushes away from anything, whether it's navigation, internet, your rear view camera, energy usage. They include streaming radio now, which is a pretty nice add-on. Your sunroof, anything that you want to do from the car or in the car, you can do from that touchscreen. And it's a great feature. The next thing is, the base car, the single motor 60 kilowatt battery is actually pretty dang fast. I'm trying to block the sun here. So a couple days back, I was coming home and I ran up against an SRT8 challenge, and of course he saw me at the light, and I know he's seeing the same videos I see about Teslas racing Hellcats and SRT8s on the drag strip, and Teslas are just taking them and destroying them. But that's the P100D. That's the high-end, 140 grand cars. This is not that car. This is, the entry level. But it's still relatively fast compared to, I had a Magnum. I had a Magnum RT. That was still a pretty fast car, by most standards. This one still does 0 to 60, 5.5 seconds. And what's better than that is the pickup. If you're going to pass someone or you just punch it while you're driving, that instant torque is amazing. I can't imagine what the people who drive the performance versions of the car have, because I'm satisfied. And the reason I even bring up the other car is that off the stoplight with the SRT8, I was able to get them. Like, of course we were driving in a safe manner and there were no other cars around, and nobody was in danger, but it kept up. Well, actually was in front of the guy up until maybe 80, 90 miles, and then he slowly started to reel me in. But off the light, I could get with him. Like, I was like, okay, I don't feel too bad. So all that to say, if anyone's out there like, oh, you're gonna need a faster car or performance, unless you're die hard or you got 120 grand that you're just gonna spend on a car, the 60 is gonna do you good. Single motor, even without the dual motor, you'll be okay. There's not that many cars out there that are gonna be faster, and if they are, just let them get you. They'll have to go buy gas after they run you down. So so the speed performance is definitely something I like. The other feature is, and by far the best feature on the car, is Autopilot. Autopilot, if you have to commute like me, it's the best feature available out of any car. The fact that you can set it and not have to worry about traffic, even though it is beta and you do have to keep your hands on the wheel. It's not completely without human interaction, but like 90% of what you have to do when you're driving and commute, the car will do for itself. Whether it's lane changes, taking around curves, monitoring the cars in front, back, it does all of that. I can literally set it. I've got a 40-mile commute each way to work. I can set it, and I probably only have to touch the steering wheel maybe 5 times on my entire commute. And that's just to let the car know, hey, I'm still here. Don't cut off. You get these little alerts when after a certain amount of time, it's just random pop-ups that'll say touch the steering wheel, and you touch it and it'll say okay, you're good, and it'll keep going. But that's a great feature. Anybody who drives a lot, or anyone who has like that ridiculous LA Atlanta type traffic, you're gonna love it, because you can literally just relax and let the car handle the stop and go part, and it will do a very good job. I haven't had any issues. Had a couple of times where, like, if I'm set it to 80 and you come into a sharp turn, or if the traffic lines on the ground lane markers aren't clear, sometimes you'll have to take over. But for the other 90% of the time, it works flawlessly. The other part that comes with that is the summon feature, and summon is, again, great feature. You park your car, and if you're in a spot, especially like at work, you're always close to someone. I hate trying to open a door and get comfortable. You just summon the car with the app. You hit turn the car on with the app, and you just hit forward or reverse, and it'll pull out of the parking spot that you're in slowly, safely. It'll watch the sides and front, whatever the case is, and once you're clear of the space, you just get in and go. I use it all the time. Every time I'm walking up to my car, I always summon it. By the time I get to the car, it is already pulled out of the parking spot, and I just get in and go. Air conditioning's going, music's going, and you just go. That's a great feature. It's better than remote start. It's definitely beneficial. So anyone that's thinking about the car, I would definitely recommend getting that option. So speaking of buying a car, I had a lot of people say, well, how do you get it? It's too expensive, yada, yada, yada. If you're like me, and I have a long commute, and I spend about, on an easy month, I'm easily spending $400 in gas. That's just if I just go to work and back. But if you're having to pick up kids from daycare, or if you're having to take kids to sports, or if you do a lot of road trips like over the summer, you can definitely get the car. It's an expensive car, but if you take what you spend on gas and what you spend on your car note and put it together, I can almost guarantee that you're going to spend more doing that than you will with a Tesla. And again, you're comparing gas to electricity. The car is very efficient. You're only going to spend, a quarter of the amount that you would spend on gas on electricity. And that's if you charge at home. If you're charging at superchargers, which are on the road, which you're going to use for all of your road trips, that's free travel. Versus, example, if I take our Navigator on a road trip down to LA, that's at least two $75 tanks of gas minimum. Plus, if you do some driving down there, it's going to be even more. So you can see it adds up. That's one trip. You do 2, 3, 4 trips in the summer, or like us, 5 or 6. If you have to go to LA and Vegas and whatever else you're doing, it adds up. So it's definitely something to consider. If you consider your gas budget and your car note budget, owning a Tesla is very reasonable. It's not as far off. It's not as expensive as you think. The other part is the maintenance. The maintenance on the car is almost non-existent. With my Magnum, it took premium 7 quarts of full synthetic oil. Even if I change the oil myself the cheapest way, you're still looking at about $60 or $70 just in oil and filter and other stuff you'll need. If you go somewhere else and do it, you're easily looking at $100 per oil change. And if you can just do the math, if you do a lot of driving, it's gonna add up. Add to that spark plugs, which I have 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So your V8 is taking 16 spark plugs. You got coils, air filters that you got to change like every couple months. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into a car. And if you got a car like my wife has, she has an E-Class, or anyone that has like a luxury car, or even a nice car that you have to take to a dealership for maintenance packages or like dealer service, I know you're paying more. So again, think of your entire car budget, maintenance, gas, and your car note, and I guarantee you'll be ahead of where you think you would be. It's really not that bad. I pay less for my Tesla than I paid for gas and my car note on a Dodge Magnum. More than I paid when I had my Chevy Avalanche. Well, any car that I've owned, with the exception of, you know, my little Cavalier, I'm paying less right now, and that's all inclusive. That's maintenance for my Tesla versus maintenance for the other cars, and then that's gas and everything else. So other than that, the next thing that I love is the build quality of the car. You just have to sit inside and see, you know, like the leather on the seats, the stitching, the padding in the seats. It's a very nicely built car. And I told you about the sunroof, the panoramic roof that goes clear to the back seat. It's great, and it opens all the way up. Like, you'll have people in the back seat will have air above them. You know, you still got suede on there. It's just it's a very nice car, probably the nicest car that I've owned. So yeah, it's very reasonable. So that's just a quick blurb. I said I wasn't going to go past 20 minutes, but that's a few things that I do like and a few things I don't like about the car. But overall, the car is amazing. The ride is smooth. It accelerates fast. It's very comfortable to drive on the highway, even though, you know, you can say it's you know, a performance car, but even without the air ride, the car is very smooth, easy to you know, just ride and be comfortable with, and it looks good. You know, you're doing some good for the environment. You know, out here in California, I've had a few days where the kids have to go to school late because it's a bad air day. And the air, you can just look up in the sky and tell that it's bad. You know, hopefully I'm doing a little bit to help that. There's a lot of people out there that are kind of in my same boat, where even though they like the car, like, there's still some benefits to it, you know, that might make you, you know, sleep a little bit better at night. So anyway, that's just a quick video about things I do and don't like. I'll try to get some other videos here to talk about the setup I have at home, so you can see what it's like to charge there. And then in the other videos, just drop me a comment, let me know what you want me to talk about, and I'll try to cover it as best I can. Appreciate everyone stopping by again, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.